Welcome to the Gaming Lodge, where we game till dawn. I wasn't sure at first if I should make this video or not, simply because this kind of videos attract a certain kind of people. You know, the ones that are being called out in it. But I personally deem it as important, especially when you look at how not just the gaming industry, but society as a whole has been evolving backwards in the past few years. So let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. A game which has become the latest victim of the so-called woke mob. In other words, a game so viciously hated and criticized ever since its original announcement. Personally, I was and am super excited for this game. I remember watching the reveal trailer and I was instantly pumped for it. You see, I didn't discover the Assassin's Creed franchise up until 2018. Then I played my first ever AC game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which to this day remains one of my favorite video games ever. Since then, I've also finished and enjoyed the original Assassin's Creed plus AC Origins and AC Mirage, and I've started both Assassin's Creed 2 and Valhalla in the past as well, but never got around to finish either. Nonetheless, I've been loving this franchise and its recent entries, and was immediately super excited to be playing its long-awaited visit to Japan. And that feeling was mutual for a lot of other long-time fans, as the Japanese setting was easily the most desired by the player base. So with that finally becoming a reality, you'd expect people to be happy, right? Well, for the most part, but there's sadly also a very low minority that is becoming louder and louder and continues to ruin not just the gaming space, but society as a whole. Assassin's Creed Shadows is woke, Ubisoft does it again, Assassin's Creed DEI, and a whole lot of other dumb headlines that made waves when the game was announced. And why is that? What sparked such a reaction? Well, the two main characters are black and a woman. It's that simple. The game has been going through a vicious hate campaign ever since its announced trailer due to this simple fact. The two main characters are black and a woman. And I just cannot believe that we as society continue to evolve backwards with such rapid tempo. I remember when I was a teenager, back in 2016, when I first really got into the internet, racism bitches were present online but quickly drowned out and made fun of. They always existed, but they were not given a platform. Then Donald Trump became president for the first time, and it has honestly all been going downhill ever since. Over the years, I continue to notice and realize how society is taking many massive steps backwards in so many ways. As a matter of fact, I remember exactly how Ubisoft was hated for making Cassandra the canon main character of Odyssey. A woman! How dare they? And I also heavily remember the entire drama around The Last of Us Part 2, a game I will finally get to play soon myself. Some of the discourse I read about it was shocking to see, and it's just all continued to get worse and worse across the world. Same here in Germany with the rise of the right-wing party AfD, and we now reach this point where the sole fact that the main characters of a game are not white and not male results in shitstorms like this. Something that seemed unthinkable a decade ago, and as a normal, sane human being, it's genuinely infuriating. Especially when the clear racism, sexism, bigotry, and hate is portrayed as something else. I mean, nowadays there are people that would just be openly racist and sexist, the freedom only made possible due to people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk allowing them to be. I mean, Twitter is literally owned and overrun by Nazis. But there's others trying so hard to make excuses for the bigotry. In regards to Assassin's Creed Shadows, having Yasuke as the main character is apparently racist to the Japanese. Because what are they thinking putting a black man as the main character of a game set in Japan? Even letting him kill Japanese NPCs. Which is somewhat not an issue when it's white characters killing Arabs or Africans, right? They're also completely ignoring or down-talking the fact that Yasuke is an historic personality. You know, what the Assassin's Creed franchise is known for. But in this case it's bad because, well, he's black. And the fact that the other main character besides him is a woman is just a cherry on top of the bitch's cake. Historical inaccuracy, they're making Assassin's Creed woke, and all that nonsense. Yeah, because Assassin's Creed has always been known for being super accurate with its historic portrayals. What's crazy is that there are things you can and should criticize, especially when it comes to Ubisoft and their business decisions. You even can criticize picking Yasuke as a main character, because we've seen the whole outsider samurai story being done before, and it's okay rather wanting something like Jin Sakai instead. I would personally argue that the Yasuke perspective gives exciting opportunities, hence Ubisoft chose to tell an intriguing story. That are things one can reasonably discuss about. But all of that gets completely overlooked and drowned out because the full attention is being shifted to the woke mob and the nonsense instead. These people just can't deal with the sheer existence of women and men that aren't white, and this entire ideology and bigotry just keeps getting worse and worse. Again, this always existed, but it's gotten bigger and bigger over the past years to the point where it's everywhere. And it's happening on YouTube too. The amount of right-wing grifter channels like Asmongold that continue to spread their hateful ideology and bigotry, trashing these games for money in the process, is actually sickening. And I'm so tired of YouTube allowing it on the platform as well. And don't come at me with free speech nonsense. The right to speak does not equal the right to be a terrible human being. And the way he and other channels use hating on games like this to make a living is just disgusting. And it isn't just this game either. Remember the entire Star Wars Outlaws drama? I was actually close to making a video like this already back then because it was the exact same situation. People hating on the title solely for the main character being a not attractive enough woman. Just look at this stupid video and thumbnail here. The entire nonsense about Siri being too ugly or the new co-op game Split Fiction being woke because the main characters are two women. These corn-rotten incels don't actually care about video games, they only care about new material to goon over. Like, shut the fuck up. And thankfully, even the creator of the game, Joseph Fares, spoke out on it.
Another feminism propaganda. So what the fuck is this? I guess that somebody are reacting that there are two women. Let me say this, in Brothers there were two guys, in A Way Out there were two guys, in It Takes Two there were one guy, one woman, and now there are two girls and everybody's complaining. Come on, man. I mean, let's face it, man. And it's also like based on my daughters. I don't care what you have between your legs. That's totally not interesting for me. Good characters is what's important.
We are generally at a point where anytime you watch a video game show when there's a woman on screen, either as presenter or in the game showcased, the chat is just overrun by idiots spamming woke. Simply because a woman is on screen. Same for people of color. And don't forget women not even being able to speak in online games without being immediately harassed most of the time. And also don't forget the entire go woke, go broke nonsense. The entire hate campaign towards Baldur's Gate 3, calling it woke because of its character's creator and deeming how it was going to fail, and then saying it's not actually woke because it actually turned out to be super successful. What even is woke? By definition, woke simply means being aware of discrimination. And not only are they using that word as some kind of slur or bad thing, they're also using the word on anything and everything. Like mentioned for just non-white men even existing in a game. The fact that even like a website exists to check if a game is woke or not is just, what the fuck? I would ask how we as society were able to drift into this hellhole, but I already answered this question when talking about the likes of Trump, Elon, Asmongold. There's just too many powerful men and women with huge reach that continue to spew their hateful ideologies for profit, damaging society as a whole in the process, which continues to affect so many different kinds of people. And to get back to Assassin's Creed for a second, Ubisoft even felt the need to introduce an anti-harassment plan for the dev team, because the criticism has reached unspeakable levels. It's genuinely terrifying to witness in real time, especially when you know how bad it got in the past and how much better it was not too long ago. I mean, just look over at what's happening in the USA right now. It would be absurd if it wasn't so horrifying. And I know that this video isn't going to change society nor deal with those people responsible for how we got here, but I definitely wanted to make a statement and set a reminder that on this channel, everybody's welcomed. No matter where you're from, your skin color, your sexuality, and else. Not included in that everybody are the kinds of people we've talked about today. The racists, the sexists, the bitches, the Nazis. Y'all shouldn't have a place in this society, and you definitely don't have one on this channel. In regards to Assassin's Creed Shadows, I've pre-ordered the game and can't wait to play it tomorrow morning. I will be recording my playthrough and will be uploading it in my episodic format that I've mentioned in my channel rebrand a few months ago. I'm super excited for it. I hope you are as well, and I can look forward to you enjoying the playthrough and other videos on my channel. To quote one of my favorite YouTubers, be good people, and see you back soon at the Gaming Lodge.